Are these golf companies just taking the mick? It feels like we're maybe just going round in circles, and some of us are lost going round in circles, debating what is better and what is worse. Now, some companies are maybe a little worse than this than others. I mean, the company we're looking at today certainly have a track record of producing clubs like this that didn't really work, but they pushed the narrative and we all bought into it, me included. And then they retract because they realise that's not got any longevity to it because their best players don't want to use it anymore. So just how much are we going around in circles? In the comments down below, let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. It really helps the channel out. And don't be afraid to subscribe if you're not already, because I'm going to compare Taylormade Qi35 latest and greatest against the Sim 2. So we're Taylormade Sim 2. So we're talking a titanium face against the carbon revolution. Are the revolutions just there so we can start a new narrative rather than actually offer you any improvements? Let's test. So if we look at the two clubs, definitely the latest Qi35 I think looks way classier. The Sim 2 was definitely crossing in their era of let's make this club as jazzy as possible. Essence of the white when they were transitioning out of the white head. White head was a great marketing idea. Like, you got the best players on the world using a white head. They know it's a TaylorMade on telly, where often you don't even know what driver some golfers are using when it's like you know, in gaming position. So we've still got that element of you're going to see what this driver is as soon as you see it on telly, because I mean, it's pretty like, I mean, it almost looks tacky in modern standards. Where Qi35 just looks classy. It's all grey, a little bit of kind of black around the outside, darker face. Obviously, we've got the carbon face on this one as well. So when it comes to looks, at the moment, the Qi35 wins. The Sim 2 looks like it's from the 80s. It looks like something out of, have you ever watched The Fifth Element, the movie? This would be the kind of driver they would be using, you know what I mean? A little bit like out there, stereotyped. But like, I could do this review in 5 more years' time, and this one might not look how we want drivers to look then. So that's very fashion based. What about the two faces? Obviously the tech both feature twist face, which revolutionize kind of nothing. I've not seen anything on tour data showing me that their players have got straighter. I did a little kind of test on that a few years ago, and it didn't really show anything, which is interesting. If they're not hitting it straighter, you're probably not either, but they like that it's there for the narrative. But we're carbon to titanium. What's the point in carbon? Must be improvement in numbers, or not. Sim 2 sits great down by the ball, looks jazzy, but it definitely sounds a bit more like a titanium driver. You know, it sounds like it's got that essence of carbon through it, which dulls that sound down a fraction, but you can hear the ting of the face a little bit more. There, the carbon. Ah, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, the carbon definitely feels that little bit duller, but it's tiny amounts. They've really worked on the sounds and acoustic, I think, of Qi35 to make it sound little less dull. The first ones that came out in this, I think it was Stealth, was it, with carbon face, where it was really dull in sounding. And if we look at the price for the times they were released, obviously they were both very expensive, is and was when it was released. Their top end, you're buying into TaylorMade, you're buying into some of the world's best drivers that are made. Like, TaylorMade do just perform. Like, they always are just consistent, good performers. And that's the thing, they're almost a product to their own success, in the sense that they have to talk and shout and have maybe real or fake revolutions. What do you think? Because they do just perform. What can you do extra if you don't perform? Well, you have to shout maybe louder that you are performing. So maybe it's more to their credit that they both feel fast and good, and we'll show you the numbers to see the difference. But maybe the carbon face has some issues, and I would love to know if you've heard of any of these issues over the titanium face. Because obviously if you're looking at buying a driver now, it's no competition. If you know what your specs are, so you know what shaft and everything you want, then I would buy Sim 2 all day long and just save the money. Like, why spend on Qi35? But then you've got the other advantage with the modern day club, where obviously you can get that custom fit. You're going to struggle to get that custom fit very easily. So getting the array of heads, obviously you have a changeable neck, so arguably you could. There will be shafts that fit into this club, so arguably you could. But I wouldn't know any golf pro who's got a business where they're trying to make money, which is their job, who would want to fit you with that, because they're going to make more money doing that, and they have to work loads harder doing that, and you're going to probably bring the head in from eBay. So is it actually that this is better, as a new club? Or is it that this just now isn't really accessible to be able to perform as well as that to a bigger market because you can't get it fit as easily? Do I feel I can do anything more with the new to the old? Well, if I'm trying to hit flat out, I feel like the old is fine. I can do that, as I do with the new. But I do find that is something that's coming out with the carbon face a fraction more. Low spinning drives, maybe slightly less consistency off the carbon face over the titanium is a feeling I get, and I wonder if anyone out there has seen that in other reviews or heard anyone talk about it. I'm not saying it does, it just feels a little bit like when I use a carbon face club, I can get some crazy low spin. So all that happens is maybe the two clubs aren't spec'd exactly the same, meaning I have to just change the loft on this one by a degree compared to an older to get them to perform pretty much the same. But then again, I'd still get some low spinners with this. Low spinners, slightly tilted spin axis, and that is the shot that no one wants. Doesn't mean I don't get good ones. I see that just dipping. Like slight high toe, it's my strike, that should be a low spinner. But like that's 1.6 spin. That is so low for where I've hit that on the Qi35, which isn't the LS. Like this is the standard head. MOI, high help, trying to help me. Obviously there's other models in this that might offer more, but I wouldn't want that spinning down at that number with that strike. Obviously I can miss hit any head from titanium or not, but it just feels a fraction more sustainable in the titanium face to me over that carbon face. Well, that's my feeling. Let's look at the numbers, because it's a revolution, so I want revolutionary numbers. And this is what I see, ball speeds the same. The ball speeds are the same, like they're the same. The launch angle's pretty much the same, a degree difference in launch, but with standard deviation overlapping those two, so my performance coming in. The total spin is lower, so the carbon face, the Qi35, the spin is that little bit more drop-offy. And the reason it's that bit more drop-offy is on the batch of shots I hit. I hit a lot of shots in this test, and there were a few more low spin drop-offs in the Qi35, giving it 2,000 on average with a standard deviation to 300. So that's dropping it down to 1.7 when I miss it, which is too low. Where 2.3 spin on the Sim 2 is really good with a standard deviation of 400 revs. That's dropping down to 1.9 and jumping up to 2.7. Like that's a good gaming miss hit bracket. And then the distance is pretty much the same. Standard deviation slightly bigger in the Qi35 in 10, so 282 average carry to 285. So people might go, the Sim 2's longer. It's not longer. It was just hit consistently more retainable spins, which you see there, which then squeezes that little bit more distance out. But the standard deviation is overlapping them. On a course, you're not going to see them. One of them is longer than the other. And then total distance as a result and standard deviation, exactly the same. And if you look at the two circles, you can see the Taylormade Sim 2 was a tighter dispersion. Now, when I first did this, I thought, well, is that fair? So what I did is I just hit more and more shots. In effect, I did 4 tests on top of 1 for this data, and I couldn't get it to move there. Is the carbon face a revolution? I would say it's a revolution for them in their narrative, but something like a Sim 2, which is a great driver at the price you can pick second-hand drivers up, is just going to perform as good. And arguably, if my test was to continue, arguably more consistently. Like that's a toe, and that's like, it's a high toe. It's spinning down at 2,000, so it's dropping straight into those averages. Do you see what I mean? Have you seen any reports of carbon faces being a little less, maybe kind of reliable? I would love to hear. I certainly find it as I hit more and more shots. I am doing a mega test, which will come out soon. Let me know in the comments if you want me to continue and show you that, because I'm hitting a lot of shots with all the drivers to try and do a huge test to see if we can really drill down into the differences between. Definitely I see carbon faces that little bit lower spinning, so if you are getting custom fit for that, you might just need to watch what loft you get to try and make sure that spin stays up and sustains. Are we going around in circles? Yeah, I feel like we are. Like it's funny to watch. Are these both great clubs? Yeah. Do Taylormade make great drivers? Yes. Would I buy a Taylormade driver if I was looking at one of these? 100%, they're going to perform. Is the new one so much better with the price tag? I think you can do just as well with old tech. Did carbon face make a revolution? Was there a revolution? Let me know, what do you think in the comments? Has there been a revolution, or is it just a different narrative? I would love to know. As always, hit that subscribe button if you like the video, and don't be afraid to watch this video if you want to know how to actually hit your driver better.